Hey everyone, I'm Nathan, and today I'm drawing every Drawfee cryptid. I gathered them all up, at least all the ones I could find anyway, and decided to challenge myself to see if I could figure out a composition to include every character and have it make sense by the end of it. So stay tuned to see my process during the speed draw, as well as headcanons and some amateur cryptology. So without further ado, let's get into the video. My concept for this piece was Cryptid Family Reunion. I like to think that all of these cute monsters, they all know each other and they're like a tight-knit community, the Cryptids. I like to think that they're like a found family spread out across the world, so they don't get together very much. And I was like, okay, they all come from different cultures and backgrounds, but they have one thing in common. No one knows that they exist. And so I like the idea of it being like a barbecue, sort of a spring break kind of a vibe. And I set it at a lake with a lot of pine trees because I just wanted to draw mountains and have some water nearby so that I could draw Nessie. You'll see that I actually changed perspectives. My initial drawing, I felt like there wasn't enough room to really capture everyone in it, but my second go around I think was much more successful. There's like over 19 of these fellas, so I really wanted to make sure they all fit. And I kind of divided the composition into two main activities, the picnic area and then the field games area. So up front is what I want to be the focal point. I wanted a picnic blanket with a cute little basket where everyone's kind of lounging and having a fun little social time. And then in the background, I was going to draw fun and games. And the picnic area is actually where majority of the Drawfee critters end up going. First up is Karakonkolos, drawn by Nathan Yaffe, and he's supposed to be like a Satan Sasquatch, so I made him very hot. But in my defense, Nathan Yaffe gave this man the biggest pecs, so I wasn't the one who sexualized the angry monkey. Yeah, but it was very on brand, so I decided to start with him, and I drew just kind of like generic hot man Squidward face and body, and then I sort of had to Sasquatchify it, but I think it turned out really well. This guy like tells lots of riddles, so eventually when I do the swimsuit, I put like a question mark to kind of harken back to that. He's not a really good guy. He like, I think, eats children, or he eats you if you can't solve his riddle. Very troll energy. Living under a bridge. Billy Goat's gruff. Oh my gosh. But I love the horns. I love his whole demeanor. I like drawing him in this stereotypical like male pinup sexy lounging pose because he knows he's hot, the Satan Sasquatch. He's very aware of it and he knows that you're looking. He just really enjoys having that power over us. My second rude ape is actually the skunk ape, which is another Nathan drawing. This guy's whole thing is that he's very stinky, and I opted to not make him as absolutely dripping disgusting as Nathan Yaffe did. Some of the other characters would not allow this. Like, he doesn't come in till later, but Mothman has like a presence of this piece, and I have lots of headcanons about him. Oh my gosh, we're getting there. Mothman definitely would be like, skunk ape, I love you. You know I love you, but you're stinky, and he'd just help him with his personal hygiene. And you know, Mothman wouldn't judge him for this. It's like, I understand, it's biology, you can't help your natural scent, but there's so much wonderful sulfate-free soaps and shampoos that you can use, as well as a nice cologne. Maybe buy him a new air freshener. Mothman's a nurturer. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out now. You can hear a lot more about him as the video goes on. I referenced Donkey Kong a lot when doing Skunk Ape's profile because he looked a little too human-like, so I ended up kind of making his nose really small. And I had to sneak that skunk tail into the very bottom. It was kind of difficult. I almost regretted putting him so far in the picture plane because he does just look like a regular monkey if he doesn't have his tail. Like, we need that for the skunk part of his name. And then the next thing I drew were the cuties. I drew these little dancing babies. It's a baby stinky ape, the Tomte-Nisse, and then the Jersey Devil. So these guys come from two different videos. One is the Drawing Cute Cryptids, which is just a nice little beans with Karina and Nathan Yaffe again, drawing another ape. And then the weird butter goblin gnome thing comes from the Drawing Christmas Cryptids video. These are definitely the children at the family reunion that are acting so ham. They're putting on a little show. They're having like a dance off to try to vie for the attention of all the adults. And the adults are like egging them on and like saying they're so cute. And that's just only making them dance sillier and bigger. And I just relate that to that a lot because I was a bit of a ham am as a kid. I was really like, wow, wow, look at me. Like I was a really strange little attention whore. I still am, but now I have crippling anxiety and I'm an introvert. Oh no. I just wanted to give them a very Pokemon and Adventure Time aesthetic. Like I kept thinking of the dancing punch bowl and like the very first episode of Adventure Time when they fight the candy zombies. And I was like, I want that to be the vibe, just really fun and really cute. And I really wanted them to be like the focal point of the piece. I drew the Jersey Devil just like completely on their back, like laughing because it's just so silly. That's another thing when you're a kid and you're with other kids and you're like interacting in your awkward bodies, you know, you don't have really good motor skills. But I just imagine the Jersey Devil was like laughing hysterically at everything that was going on. And speaking of little cuties, I also drew the Cali Contosaurus, who is also in the Christmas Cryptid episode. And he's like a little gremlin little guy who is evil, like in his actual cryptid folklore. He's like trying to destroy the world via the world tree because it's like Norse mythology rules. And so since he is a servant of evil, I was like, oh, this is definitely like, he's really close to Satan Sasquatch. Like they're kind of buddy-buddy and he's like kissing up to him. So he's like, when you ever see those two cousins and one is like older and a jock and then the other one is like trying to be a jock but kind of failing at it because he's like younger and hasn't come into his own yet, like a little shadow that follows him around the entire reunion being like, hey, like I'm vying for your approval. That's the vibe going on here. So I had the Cali Contosaurus eating him grapes, like holding it up, being like, yes, if I kiss up to you, you'll like me. And then after all of those, we get into our favorite abomination, the boobrie. So this Daffy Duck smited by God motherfucker is by Jacob and is completely buck wild. Like, oh my gosh, just terrifying. The boobrie is definitely the auntie of the group. Like, it's definitely going around pinching everyone's cheeks, but they don't have fingers, so they have to use just like two hooves to simulate a pinch, or maybe they just bite you with their large pelican mouth. But I wanted them being like going coochie coochie coo to the Jersey Devil. Like I wanted them to be having a cute little moment. Maybe the boobrie is like tickling them. I don't know. I just wanted it to be very cute and very playful and just have this auntie energy kind of brought forth. But you know, after like when the alcohol busts out, boobrie is definitely gonna get a little shit face and is gonna gossip up a storm with Sasquatch Satan. Like it's gonna happen. We're all ready for it. But it's still early in the day. The sun is still up. So everyone's a little bit, you know, we're not ridiculous yet. I also had a lot of fun just drawing the picnic decor. It was really simple. Like I just did gingham picnic blanket and then a cute picnic basket. And that was really all I needed. Originally, I was gonna add like plates and food, but I don't do that. Like I add a grill later and there's no hamburgers on it. And I'm just like, maybe they're all waiting for another cryptid to come with the food. And so they're all just kind of prepped there. Or maybe all the food's just still in the picnic basket or in a cooler off screen. There wasn't a lot of room. And so I did what I had to do. And the focus really was on the characters and their interactions anyway. So you can fault me for my lack of prop design. I'll take it. I deserve it. Lock me up, throw me away. And then after I draw this amazing grill, we finally get into Mothman. Mothman was from a stream and is by Karina. And in the original image, he just has this apron and he's your gay husband and we love him. So Mothman is a nurturer, like I said before. And I went really like Spider-Man with his design. He could be straight out of a Marvel comic as like a side hero or a villain. But my headcanon for him is that he's a very conscientious family member who like always sends a Christmas card, planned this family reunion, never forgets your birthday, like just all around very decent, good, and wholesome, you know, always wants to make sure the family gets together. Whenever there's any family beef, there's like the mediator and is like, we have to build bridges, we have to repair, like we're a community, we're small in number, but we are mighty in heart and passion. Mothman is just, such like wholesome dad energy. Oh my goodness. Absolutely love him. So I made him really hot. He's a bit of a dill. Also is like an interesting philosophical inquiry because is Mothman a furry? Because he is furry, like objectively, moths are fuzzy little guys, but he's an insect and not a mammal. So do you just have to be furry to be a furry? Like I know some reptiles are called scalies. Like what are the rules? Or are fuzzy insects called fuzzies? Or is he just a furry because it's like a catch-all for all animals? These are things that I pondered while rendering his like pectoral muscles because I ended up kind of making him floofy, which was really fun. It's not often I get to draw someone someone so floofy. And I also just loved his apron. In my headcanon, Mothman is married to Bigfoot, and they've been married for like, 40 years now. They're very content, and they're like the parental units for the rest of the cryptid community to look up to and ask for advice. Ugh, big fan, big fan. I add like a smidge of background just because I'm like, all right, I'm about to draw a bunch of little guys, so I need something to give me a sense of perspective. And then I draw Bigfoot. So Bigfoot really was nail in the coffin for that's it. I want to do a drawing every cryptid episode with the Drawfee gang because I found this image by Julia, which was in, I think, a different stream, but it was so brilliant. And I was like, it's so funny, but it's so like also endearing and sweet and likable. I was just, oh my gosh, I was obsessed. I'm obsessed with the design. I love that he kind of like found this bikini and was like, I'm gonna wear it. I think that's so cute. I also just loved his sunburn, like that he wears a t-shirt a lot and pants and socks. Oh my gosh, those tan lines. I don't know how Julia makes such iconic characters, but it's just, there's something about her brain, that La Petite. I just, wow. Then after Bigfoot was done, we get into our wacky racers. So during like spring break or family reunions, oftentimes there are field games. And I was kind of torn between Potato Sack and the one with the egg and the spoon. But I was like, I don't want to draw that many spoons and hens. So I opted for the Potato Sack race, which I think was funnier. And that's where we get our 4 remaining Drawfee cryptids out of the way, which include the butt log, a French abominable guy that Julia drew, a Christmas witch, and Santa's creepy little helper. I don't remember the names, but all wonderful characters. And they serve an important role in this piece functioning because like their tininess really gives you that depth of field and implied space that I wanted. So there are no small parts in the world, there are only small actors, or however the saying goes. The rest of these participants in the Potato Sack race are cryptids from my Patreon. That's right, I have a Patreon. If you like this channel and you want to submit requests for the backgrounds of these drawings, you can join, and for like $4 a month, you can have your name in the end credits. What a deal. But I gotta say, my patrons, they had the best requests for cryptids. Like there were some deep cuts here. No one actually requested Nessie. That was a me decision because I was like, the whole point was this lake so I could have Nessie in the background. But they requested things like the Loveland Frogman, which was so adorable, and I gave kind of the Kermit treatment to, oops, I'm sorry. Or like the Ozark Howler, which is just a really cute doggo with horns. Someone asked for the Chupacabra, but specifically from Dexter's Laboratory, which I appreciated because that's art style I don't get to do very often. And it was just really fun. Big head, doesn't care, green, wonderful. Another one was Jeff the Mongoose, who was just a talking mongoose that lived in a barn and is very cute. And this next one also wasn't from Patreon, but was actually from a YouTube video that I watched. So there's this YouTuber named Hazel who makes really lovely video essays, I guess I'll call them. Just very fun, and they cover like anime and otaku culture. She has one that's just all about every time the Flatwood monster appears in a video game. And I just think it's kind of incredible how you can be a person, i.e. me, who has never really thought a lot about cryptids and doesn't have any real emotional connection to them, but then you can watch one 27-ish minute video and suddenly you have a new favorite cryptid, the Flatwood monster, and you're suddenly very deep in the Wikipedia lore and interested in other cryptids as a result. I think there's something beautiful about that with YouTube. Like you're just one video away from your new obsession or hobby or favorite little thing. And then I think I'm just adding all of those finishing touches on the background. Perspective can be difficult outside because there are no straight lines. Like if you have a hallway, you just have to make all of those straight lines head towards a point. But in nature, you just kind of have to wing it. And I think this was a pretty successful piece for that. I loved adding the reeds by the lake, having this like stormy kind of weather. And then the very last cryptid I add was also from Patreon, but it was the Fresno Nightcrawler, which was a cryptid I wasn't familiar with, but oh my gosh, they are my new obsession. They're just these cute ghosts with big poofy legs. I made them a little more spindly, and I added just a ton of them to the background. So yes, there are 19 cryptids, but there are like 6 Fresno Nightcrawlers around. So it's like, is it 19 or is it 23? I can't do math. And then with that, this is the finished image. This one was really fun to do because it had a lot of research. And I will say this isn't always true at the end of these projects, but this was one where I was like, I kind of want to draw the cryptids again. I actually had a lot of fun, like, imagining them, and I was like, I could do more fan art of these guys, which is really weird, because normally you draw a million cat boys and you're like, never again. You kind of swear yourself off of them for a while. But I think because cryptids are so diverse in like fur, feather, scales, teeth, facial expressions, hot, cute, I don't know, it just didn't get repetitive or redundant. So I had a lot of fun. Which one is your favorite cryptid? Or if I didn't draw your favorite cryptid, let me know them down below and give me a fun fact about them. Oh boy, I'd love to read about them. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. That stuff really does make a huge difference. Ring that bell so you never miss a vid. I never say that, oh my gosh. But do it if you want. But the best way to support me is on Patreon. And speaking of patrons, it's that time again for the end credits. Special thanks to Blurryface EXE, Blue Uwu, Christopher, MOE, Game of Catan on IG, Gay Jairus, Melon, Pinecone, Prance, SL Blue, Smalls the Sax Jammer, Thumper Daytime, Tarthalinor, Tuesdays Anyways, and Tuppence Pies. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Nathan. I post every Wednesday and Saturday, and I'll see you soon. Bye!